Hello out there. This is the Union Tapes episode number 25. And this is one of my favourites from back in the 80s. This is with none other than Todd Anderson from the infamous Camirilo scene back in the day. We get right into it with this one. It was good to talk to Todd because, like I say, he's always been one of my favourites from back in the day. And I couldn't really understand why no one had done this with him before. But we touch on all things throughout his journey in this one. Riding for SE, infamous car jump photo for Freestylin mag, riding for Redline, the Camirilo ramp and scene and the riders around it, riding for General, R.L. Osborne, half pipe riding, two hip meet the street. Yeah, we cover it all in this one. He's also cover the innovative and wild way that he used to do tricks, which is kind of more up to date than the most from back then. So yeah, we get into it, and I hope you enjoy it.
So yeah, just give us a brief bit of history, like where you're born, where you're raised, so what you was into as a kid and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah. I'm born and raised in Southern California. I moved here to this house in 1978 and ended up having the opportunity once I got married and started having kids. I got to buy it. And then as soon as I bought the house, I was contracted by Danny Hubbard and some other teams and just started making ramps in my back in my garage and in the front driveway. So all my neighbors from back in the day, all the parents and everybody was like, God, we're going to do this again.
You came back to home.
Like in junior high, I always was drawing quarter pipes and ramps and like traveling box trailers and things. So when after I started riding and started doing shows, I learned how to weld just because I wanted to make ramps. So I built my own ramps and went all over the place. And then other teams wanted the ramps. So yeah.
Oh, so that's what you got into later on.
Yeah. I mean, I was welding in Eddie Fiola's garage when we were together. We built a bunch of box jumps, and then it just snowballed. From
amazing! There. Yeah, I watched one of those little shows you did the other day. I've never seen it before. I'd seen photos, I think, but I'd never seen the video. And I saw the video. I was loving it, man. So like, where was you like when you? What was your first bike? Like you had a Schwinn or something like that? Is that what those guys had out there?
Yeah. So the kids in the neighborhood, there was a bunch. This whole street that I live on, all were the same age. So there was probably 10 kids. None of them blew up on this neighborhood, but they all had BMX bikes. So that's kind of how it started. But they all had like divorced parents, so that they got whatever they wanted.
Well, they got
so all my friends had really nice bikes, and I could not convince my parents into getting me a bike until like way late.
All right.
They all had awesome bikes. I got a Mongoose like in 70, 79, 78, 79, and just a heavy clunker Moto Mags. And had that thing forever. But I mean, my bike are always broke, notorious for breaking bikes. So most of the pictures from back in the day are from me riding other people's bikes.
All right. So did that Mongoose have a coaster brake on it?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh,
it did, yeah. Okay, I wondered, yeah.
I don't think you could get bikes back then without a coaster brake, unless you spent a lot of money and it was like a legit race bike. Yeah, they all came with coaster brakes. Bob Harrell rode a coaster brake. Bob Morales rode a coaster brake. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got it in the UK. We got BMX a few years later than you guys. Like 79 would have been really, really early. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's when it started like becoming a thing? 79 in California.
Yeah, I mean, everything was racing. So I mean, there was always somebody in the magazine at the racetracks doing something fancy off a double.
Yeah.
Or a jump. So I mean, that was what I was trying to shoot for, was go to the races. I was slow as hell. All my friends raced and they were fast, and I was slow as hell. And I was like trying to be good at something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would find the biggest set of doubles and just start doing jumps. I would never I raced, but I would always intend to lose and then do something big over the finish line or something and try and redeem myself and be my coolness.
Oh, but did it work?
I know. Yeah, there was a few races that were big. A lot of my friends, they raced and then they would get hurt and then they would get to the nationals or a big race or something. And then like, dude, just ride for me. And I would blow all their points, their standings, because I would suck, but everybody be taking pictures of me.
All right. What was some of the early jump variations you were doing? Like
I was always doing 1 footer, no footers, and trying to take my limbs off.
Okay.
Tabletops. Yeah.
So that's the
racy stuff.
Yeah. I didn't even know you raced. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And where did you go from racing? Did you slowly get into? I suppose freestyle wasn't even a thing right at this point.
It wasn't a thing. There was one race that we did where off to the side, because I think it rained the whole weekend, and off to the side they were supposed to do a show, and I saw Eddie Fiola and I think Fred Blood or Martin Appareo, one of those guys. I didn't meet them. I didn't like have the balls to like come up to them and say hi, but they were hitting a curb and doing fakies or something, and it was not racing, and the way they rode was like, this is something else. So that was the first time I ever saw somebody do something else that wasn't racing, but it wasn't because it was raining and they were off to the side. It wasn't really a show, but they were doing endos and fakies, and I thought, okay. And they're not racing and they're legit.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, there was it wasn't a contest, it wasn't a show, but it was like a world's record bunny hop and wheelie and skid or something at a mall. And Brian Skura, Woody Itzen, and Martin Appareo showed up at that one, and that was legit. They did freestyle. That was one of the first times I think I saw freestyle.
Well, can you remember what sort of year this would have been?
81,
81, yeah. Okay, I was going to say 81, yeah. 81,
and then I think one of the races I saw Bob Harrow do a show with Ronnie Wilton.
All right.
Somewhere in there, I saw him do a show, and that was it. He was so smooth. His style, it was not racing style, but it was so smooth. It was so different. I don't think anybody had ever like emulated his style. It just went away.
Was they on a quarter and a trick ramp, or were they just like on the flat?
No, it was a quarter and a wedge.
Okay.
And Wilton rode just like Bob, and they killed it.
All right.
Yeah.
So Wilton was early.
That was super early. That was before he came out with his frame. 80, 81.
Yeah. Amazing.
I don't remember where that was. Yeah, it tripped me out.
So that was the first time you saw someone blast an air.
Yeah. I mean, it was late enough for me to watch and go, I'm going to do that. Okay. And I'm going to do it better. Because he was going pretty high and the ramps were pretty small. Like all the touring ramps were really, really small. And the ramps that you would see in the magazines were always 8x8. So that was what I was starting to ride, or that's what we were hoping, big ramps, you go big.
Yeah.
And when these little ramps came on some of the first freestyle comps, they were so small, and it was like, God, this sucks. They were like maybe 6-7 feet high and like 6 feet wide, and had vert. We're like, what the hell? And we were struggling, but when I saw Bob Haro do his show, he was so awesome and so smooth. But I kind of expected him to go higher.
Okay.
And I thought I could do that. I could do that because he's not going that high.
Well, even though this was the first guy you seen air the quarter, you still thought you could go higher, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
amazing.
everything. Our crew was like everybody else. What you see in the magazines and what you see in person, you're like, all right, I can do that.
we're gonna chase this, yeah.
He did nose manuals, like Mach 5 nose manuals on the break.
Yeah, I remember they were in the book.
Yeah, man, that was legit.
Yeah.
What's weird?
No one emulated that for a little while. Like he kept that for a long time. Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't happen until like Hang Fives.
Yeah, 90s. Yeah. Late 80s.
He's a trip. Haro's a trip. I bought one of those original, the first round Haros. I had a motorcycle and I sold it for like $400 or something. And my parents let me put all that money down on a frame and fork and one front graphite. And I think I had to pay extra or something. And like, I ran out of money on that deal, but I bought his frame, that first Haro frame. That was the Torquer, and broke it like 6 months or a year. I don't know, broke it. And, it just broke my heart. I thought, Torquers are awesome and Haros are legit. I'm never going to break this bike. This is my last this is going to be it, man. This is like, I'm going to be Bob Haro with this bike. And I cracked it. And my mom wanted to advocate for me. So she called up Haro for the number on the magazine and just kept on the line until she got Bob Haro.
All right.
And she had it out with Bob Haro and said, my son's not doing anything that's not on the magazines. And because he's like, nah, lady, we're not going to give you another bike. Like, frames crack and, you're doing stuff that isn't intended. And she stayed on the line till he gave her a new bike.
So got it then, yeah?
I got it. And over the years, I met him or talked to him or made an impression with him. I never was on his team, but I've seen him in so many different places over the last like 30 years. I see him in Malibu or like in a random, Chick-fil-A. I see him all over the place, like every couple years. And it's just weird. I'm in the middle of like a work day with work boots and I'm dirty. And I see him stand in line right next to me to get our fish burgers. I'm like, what the hell? And he loves me. He loves me. We were, me and my wife were standing in line to get into the BMX Hall of Fame. And there's the whole, and it's a long line of who's who. And I'm standing there like in awe, like Gary Turner and all these people, and Bob Haro is walking down the line like he's Bob Haro, and he's going to go wait in this long line to get into the Hall of Fame. So he's walking down the whole thing, and I'm like, eventually he's going to cut in line and start talking to somebody special. And he goes past like Greg Hill and Stu Thompson and like Gary Turner and all these dudes, and then stops and says hi to me and my wife. And I was like, what the? And then he cut in line in front of me. I was like, what? That's awesome. Like the Hall of Fame could have been over. That was enough for me.
Finish, yeah. Nice. I thought you was going to say walk to the back of the queue, but not.
Yeah, you can cut in line with me.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a quirky dude.
So was there like a local shop that you used to buy your bike parts from, or did you used to get a mail order or something?
No, we had a just a Schwinn shop, open air Schwinn. Yeah, it was just a bike shop that we had, and there was this. So this is how I got on SE. There was a guy who flew in from back east, like Minnesota or something, and he was big into SE. He loved SE, and SE to me was like the Ferrari of bikes. Man, I'd never be able to afford it. My parents weren't going to buy me anything SE, so he comes in and becomes the manager at this bike shop, and our whole crew just every day we lived at the bike shop. I mean, if they had a couch and a bed, we would have been there 24/7. We just were always at the bike shop. That's how every crew is, man. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because you're constantly breaking parts. So this guy moves to SoCal and becomes a manager at this shop, sees me and Dino and Broderson and all of us riding, and immediately connects us with another team in Santa Barbara and all this, and starts riding with us. So he was calling SE back in Minnesota, buying parts and riding their stuff, and knew those guys, knew Perry or knew Scott on the phone. So when he moved to California, he called up Scott and was like, I got these guys and they rip. We're coming to the factory and we're going to show you how awesome they are. I don't remember any of this because he was a grown-up. And I called him because I talk to him like once every decade. And so I'm planning a vacation. I'm going to go see him. So I'm like, hey, man, what's the story about how we got on SE? So I just called him like a couple days ago. And he said he called Scott Bryhup and said, we're coming with ramps and bikes, and we're going to ride in your front parking lot. So me and Dina went there, and nobody's around. There's nothing happening. And we started riding. He's like, just shred in the parking lot. And then I don't know who anybody is. I don't know what Scott looks like. I don't know. I've never met Perry Kramer or Mike Devitt or anybody. So apparently they were all out of town, but I think Scott saw us and brought Mike. I remember Mike Devitt coming out the front parking lot and was like, what the hell are these kids doing in the parking lot riding bikes? Like, we don't do it like this. Like, I don't understand. And I did a kick turn or a stall, and I buzzed my front tire on his shirt, on the back of his shirt, while he's telling somebody something. And I'm like, well, this is the moment where we go away forever or we get bikes. So he liked it, and we got bikes, and the rest is history. But that's how we got on SE.
Oh, unreal. What, Dino was on as well?
Yeah, it was. So my buddy had a really small, one of those little Ford trucks, little Rangers, and it just had enough room to put the wedge ramp and two bikes. So we squished all three of us in there and rode and drove all the way like an hour from here to Paramount, where the factory was. Yeah. And it was Dino, and my buddy Dan Palmer was the grown-up who did it all for us and got us the connection. And he's in the bug in the photo and the cover.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was what was on the list as well. So was you guys were the first freestylers on SE, I take it?
Fred, I think, was already on.
Oh, he was already on. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah,
but I didn't know him, and I'd never heard of him. He wasn't in the magazines. Yeah.
And what was this? 83 or 84?
I think. Yeah, 82, 80.
Oh,
82.
Okay. So he's on a little while before you got the cover. Yeah. Oh, and what was?
So the when we went and when we went and invaded their parking lot, it was shortly after that where they were like, we need to do this again. Let's bring the whole damn thing all over here again. And then somehow it came into this big photo session with Bob Osborne, and then the bug. It just snowballed.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And what was that? The jump over the bug was just off the ramp to flat?
No, there was a landing.
Oh, there's a landing.
Yeah. So here at the house that I grew up in, we constantly had, like, there's a sidewalk, and we had a launch ramp and a landing. They were the same.
Okay.
So we would speed jump them, pull them apart, put them together, and then we had a quarter pipe in my driveway up against the house. So we would just take all of that and go do shows. We would take,
all right.
It wasn't portable at all. We'd plop it on a trailer and take the wedge ramps. And so that setup with the bug, on the corner of the magazine, there's a little teeny shadow of a triangle where there's a landing ramp.
Well, yeah, I always thought that was the flat. That's crazy, yeah. So
the one that I think is the cover, I just caught like 6 inches of that landing and just landed flat.
Oh,
but there was a landing there.
All right.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that photo?
I don't remember. It just was. You get a bunch of people and things just snowball.
Yeah, it's great. It's iconic as it gets, you know. And you want a ripper on that shot?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the bike you rode for SE, was always the PK Ripper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cool. right after the parking lot invasion, they said they were going to sponsor us and give us bikes. And then there was a contest or something, and I was like, I need a bike. Like, I don't think we got. There was something about, I need a bike because I got a contest, and if you want to sponsor me, I need a bike now. So they told me, just go buy one, and then we'll mail one to you. And I'm like, I ain't having that. I ain't buying. I don't have any money. My parents they're like, this is a scam. This is a total scam. So I bought that bike, and my parents were like, dude, this better be not a scam. And they sent me a bike, and that bike that I'm jumping was the one I bought. And it was
okay.
Yeah, and they SE was awesome. They've treated me like family. But yeah, I had to buy that bike.
So would they send you a frame or a bike, or what did they send you?
Yeah, it was parts.
How did that work?
It was sketchy. They didn't have complete bikes. Scott was having a lot of issues. Right when I got on, I never really saw him that much. He was awesome in person, but he was the whole reason why SE, didn't blow up was because Scott was having a lot of issues with addiction.
Oh, okay.
But if they gave me something, it was like frame and fork, and I had to figure out everything. I don't even think they had bars back then. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they were nice guy. Mike Devitt would give you the shirt off his back, but until I got on Redline, I never had a complete bike ever.
Wow.
Yeah. SE didn't never.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah. What did they expand the freestyle team after you guys, or did it just kind of dwindle down?
Fred tried. Was
he like a TM or something? Did he take charge?
But he was. We were trying to do it like that. I know he was getting paid, and he was under a contract. I think we did the Western United States. We did once or twice a tour.
Oh, okay.
And I think Craig Grasso was under his wing, or started. That's how Craig got started with everything.
Yeah.
Was with Fred, but I don't think Fred had like more guys. I mean, like co-sponsorship people. I don't know, that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
But it was me and Dino on our side. But there was something happened with Dino. I don't remember where he left.
He had went away. Yeah.
Yeah, none of us in Camirilo were stayed together on our teams or our sponsorships or anything. We all went separate, which was probably great. That's why probably Camirilo, the scene, blew up, because if Dino had something about Dino or we all just went, and that's why the magazines never really was like, oh no. you guys don't ride. This is for just, it was never like that. That's why we got so much coverage, because if Dino had something or I had something, we were there anyways every day.
Yeah, so, it was a hot spot, wasn't it?
And then BMX Plus was always testing something, so they would use it with their test guys or us or whoever could do whatever. They don't care. Just they're taking pictures. So it was a pissing contest every time you were there.
Yeah, no, it looked amazing. Well, but so a bit
it was the place where a lot of people were there, and it was like put up or shut up.
Yeah,
and that's what made it good.
Yeah, no, it looks good. The footage looks good still today. Well, so that was a little bit after. Did you have that quarter went up in what, 85 or 86?
So Doug Randazzo he was in Camirilo, but Camirillo's pretty spread out. He's about 5 miles away. Okay. So I mean, for a kid to ride your bike 5 miles there, ride all day long and ride back, we did it. We did it all the time. But in the beginning, he had dirt jumps, and he had a quarter pipe that he built, because his whole family is construction.
Okay.
And like, he's a badass contractor. So the roll-in for that whole big blue whatever setup, the roll-in was the original quarter pipe.
Oh, all right.
And it wasn't the plywood tranny. It was stick.
All right. So yeah, okay.
It was way under vert, and it had a top end, but then they just kind of like lopped it off and made it the roll-in. But that was the original quarter pipe. And that was the first time I'd ever tried to do airs. That was when I didn't figure I should air, one way or the other, or ride goofy or not. Or there was no goofy. We were just.
Yeah, you just airs, weren't they? Yeah.
That original quarter pipe, he took an axe to the middle of it and hacked out the whole entire, like this ghetto notch, like a roll-in. So if you did want to roll in or you wouldn't hit your sprocket.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have pictures of me and Dino maybe 12 inches out of that thing.
All right.
And that's 80, 81.
Really early, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know it started at that point.
Timelines are hard, man, especially when you're talking dudes that like, I got 25 concussions or more. Like, trying to remember anything is just luck.
Yeah, I get it. But around and another early event that I saw that you was at was I think it was in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
The quarter pipe they had a quarter pipe contest in the parking lot with the big channel, and you do that huge alley-oop over the channel.
Yeah.
You remember the one I'm talking about, yeah?
Yeah, it was they did that one a couple times.
Okay.
But down the street was the big surf contest, the Huntington Beach surf contest.
All right.
So there was an empty parking lot a block away from the beach where they would do this contest. And so much fun. That was so much fun. But at that contest, one of the quarter pipes is mine, and we were already doing shows, and I had a van. My mom had a van, and she let me fabricate a quarter pipe that broke in half, and then the platform of the quarter pipe was mounted onto the top of the van.
All right.
So it was like 3 pieces, and we would trailer that thing all over the place and do shows all over. But I asked Bob Morales, I go, I mean, is it more the merrier, or is it unfair, or what, with ramps? So he let me take that thing to Huntington, to the Venice comp, San Diego, the Jack Murphy Stadium. We did that one. Yeah. And wherever. It was a pain in the ass. It was heavy, and it was a little undervert, but
that's quite advanced, though, isn't it? For kids of your age to be building that quarter pipe that breaks down into them sections. and then putting it back up. Like,
I learned a lot. Yeah,
it moved. Yeah,
yeah.
And the alley-oop was very advanced, I thought, for that time period.
I mean, huge. you watch it now.
I love it.
And it's like, wow, we've come a long way.
No way, man. That stuff, that's timeless. That is like now biting, like, wow, like, yeah, I think that's great.
Remember Bob Morales was such an awesome individual. But I was always just asking him questions that he could never answer, or just didn't, like, God, why? He would say, no transfers. I don't want anybody doing any transfers or any carving from one ramp to the other. Here's the rules for the thing. And I said, well, if I do them anyways, you can't unsee it. Am I going to be disqualified if I do it or not? And so, like, he's like, whatever. And that's way back. Like, it was always, everything was a liability. Like, yeah, he didn't want people getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of I think he was asking for it, putting them, because he seemed to, that was quite far, that one, right? Was that the one with a trick ramp in the middle?
Yeah.
The wedge in the middle. So he's kind of asking for it. If it had pushed him closer, it wouldn't have been so bad. But yeah, it just made it bigger, and people were yeah, there
was a couple. That one was it seemed a lot bigger. When you look at it now, you're like, huh, that's not that much. Yeah. But there was a few that because that was kind of my shtick, was like, I'm gonna alley-oop something far. And there was a couple of the contests or shows, or I forget what it was, but we purposely put the ramps really far apart. And I remember, like, I'd just go for it, and Hugo would carve like anything. And I remember Josh White doing something far, man, really big, like really gapped. But yeah, I mean, it was just a thing.
So, but where did you get that? So if you're alley-ooping at that point in time, that's a very early. Was you riding the concrete skate parks, or are you too far away from them?
We were far. So in the early 80s, all the skate parks in California and that blew up in the 70s all went away.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like, we had a local skate park that I would skateboard back, like, when I was 5, but they all went away. They all got covered up. So in the 80s, there was just a few that were holding on. There was one out in LA that was impossible to ride. Paramount Skate Park was just, it was either too much or it was, too little.
Yeah.
Fun to ride, but we hit that once. We did Upland a handful of times over the years, and then I ended up riding it a bunch with Eddie later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did that?
Not a lot of influence with skate parks and the Camirilo crew. It was not. We used to get picked on by everybody. All the skate park guys would pick on the Camirilo guys. They would call, because we were so used to just a quarter pipe. So you watch the skate park guys, and they're and they would fly out, fly in, and drop in, and we didn't have a lot of width to try and figure that out. So they would tease us with the Camirilo fly out, because we would come up on the deck and go,
yeah,
and they'd be like, like Eddie would, and we didn't know anything about that, so they would call it the Camirilo fly out.
All right. But that's what I was getting at with an alley-oop. You're not riding anything that wide, but somehow you're doing these huge alley-oops and stuff. Like, where did the alley-oop come from? Have you seen someone else do it? Or
I think I was just like, God, I'm so used to something so thin. Like, I just embraced, going wide. I don't know why. Maybe because nobody else was, and that was the whole point of freestyle, was, think up something nobody else has done. I always thought like, and being goofy, it went along with this mentality of like, don't do what everybody else is doing. Like try and do, something, tweak it, do something, something different.
Yeah. That all fits perfectly into place for what I'm going to ask you later on. Yeah, that's good. I like it. Yeah, but the alley oops is I really like. I still do alley oops, and like I just find them so different to just regular airs. And whenever I see a big one, I'm like, and that one that you do in that video for then was like outstanding. I love it, man.
Somebody posted that, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, in my head, it felt like, really something. But now you're like, well, I don't even think I was old enough to drive. So,
No way. If someone did that like now, like, just in a, not a superhuman pro, like if someone did that now, that's cool. Still cool. Like if one of my friends did it, we'd be all over him.
I mean, Simon does the 540 alley-oops, man. They're just, I love it. He is so awesome.
Yeah.
Watching him ride.
And Jamie does like 20 feet.
Yeah. Oh, forever.
Yeah. But still, when there's a hole, it's a completely different thing. And that wasn't a wide landing either. You had to still be pinpoint on that one. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So you end up like after this period of time, you get on Redline quite early, right? You were saying
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what did that involve? Because that was what I know. What the first time I think I really saw Todd Anderson as like something really prominent was the Redline days.
Yeah, I got
over here because we got stuff sort of secondhand in the UK. We didn't get it like you guys got it quick, so we got it a bit after.
Europe, oh god, you guys got jibbed. That's a whole nother story. You guys got jibbed when Freestylin came out with that one with kick turns, and I think Craig and just a bunch of random guys from
South Sea Skate Park. Yeah,
right, man. I was like, wow, okay, this is getting bigger. Like no idea at all that this thing is worldwide. I don't know what RL. I don't know the back. I didn't ask him, but I just got a call from RL, and he wanted me on the team. I'm like, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
So it was just a random phone call. So I didn't know. I don't think I ever even met him.
Whatever, or just then.
Ever then, before he called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to be on the team?" Maybe I met him. I don't know. He's a one-on-one kind of person. He's super personable, but everybody's different.
Yeah,
and, he's kind of like me. Like I'm not the loudest person in the room.
Yeah.
I'm a one-on-one person.
All right.
He's kind of like that, but he just called me out of the blue.
Oh,
and I got on Redline.
That was and what was that? What did that involve? You had to do shows, or like what bike did they give you to start with? An RL 20, 22 or something they used to call them.
Yeah,
the bikes. Tall, weren't
they? Weird, because the factory Redline was in Camirilo.
Oh, okay.
And I think I had been there. I never went there before I was on the team, but I went there after I was on the team, maybe a handful of times. I wasn't there ever. And
all right,
they gave me I had the single top tube because I like that. I had the double top tube. They gave me, those bikes are awesome, man. It was like, God, I can't believe I'm riding these bikes. I get them for free. This is awesome. And they're right out of the box. They're awesome. Yeah. I was stoked.
And what was
I like the single top tube with the chainstay. I don't know what that one was. It was the 20, the RL20, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, it was the freestyle one, but with a single top tube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the one that I like to do. I did a bunch of them. I don't know. I rode whatever they gave me, but that's the one that I kind of liked because
okay.
I didn't care for all the weight. I just wanted it as light as possible.
Yeah, you wanted to go up, yeah. And what was the Redline factory like when you went there?
It was, I think everything was being made out someplace else because they weren't making anything. They weren't really making anything there, but it was a big facility. They didn't really give me the nickel tour, and I wasn't best friends with everybody. I remember when RL told me or called me, and I got hooked up on the team. There was a moment where I had to go into Lynn Caston, the owner of Redline. I had to go into his office and meet with him, and I guess I don't know if it was a negotiation or something, but I think he had the power to squash me or whatever. I was a young kid, and his office was super big, and he had this fancy race car seat for behind his desk, and he had this giant swordfish, this huge, intimidating swordfish behind his desk, and he sat there like all like kingly, and sits me down and hashes it out with me. I remember just being like, "You are squashing me with your eyes." I remember him, on the other side of the desk, staring me down like, "You are a young person, and I can squash you." And he did. He had that effect.
Intimidating factor, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I got on Redline because I don't know, for some reason RL called me, and I thought, dude, this is right after Buff. Like, I went to right around there was the TOL contest, when the TOL ramp was around, somewhere in there, and I knew of Buff, but I'd never chit chat with him. He didn't compete a whole lot. He did a ton of shows, but I went to that contest and he was there, and that was like the first time, like, dude, I got your job. And I thought,
he rode for Redline, did he, Mike Buff?
No, but he was RL's
the
end of the BMX Action Trick team.
Okay.
And now it's not that anymore. It's going to be the Redline team. And I was just like, dude, this is awesome. I have RL Osborne as a teammate, dude. I must really be something. Like a young, dumb kid who's barely out of school. And my head is like this.
It gave you a bit of an ego, did it?
Well, I mean, everybody had, anytime you pluck a young child, a young kid, and in the 100%. Normal development of a young person, and then you pluck them out of the normal, like, I got a crappy job and I got dumped by my girlfriend and people don't like me and I have to have friends and all this stuff. And you pluck them out and have lots of people give you all kinds of compliments and, all this adoration. And, some of the guys made money, and that messes up your normal trajectory for a young person.
Yeah, of course. Up until for me, up until I was about 40 plus, that would have messed me up. But,
I mean, the whole crew here, we all were tight enough to keep each other grounded. That helps to have a crew that, like, dude, you ain't that. You're not that. You're not that.
And that was a varied crew as well, right? So this is Camirilo, prime Camirilo time, right? When you were on Redline.
Yeah.
What did you have a picture on? I can't think of what mag it was, but I was in there's quite a well-known old BMX shop here called Faze 7 back in the day. And I was in there and I've never seen the cover again since, but it was you doing a look back, and I'm sure you was on a Redline, and it was a feature inside of you, but I've never seen that mag even online since. And it was like a over-tweaked look back, like feet on the crank arms. And I remember picking it up and being like, whoa, how's he doing this? And I've never seen it since, but that was like in that period of time. Do you know what mag I'm talking about? No, because we didn't get some of the super BMX and that. We got like Plus, Action, Freestyling. Unless I just imagined it and it was a concoction of other mags, like the general cover with you tweaking that look back or something like that. But yeah, so we're in like the Camirilo period, and that's when the Camirilo is in getting prime coverage in their mags. And it's like Doug Randazzo, obviously, Steve Broderson, he was another local. Dino. And with Josh White, he wasn't from there. He was from up further, right?
Right.
Like Oregon. Right?
He came in somewhere, towards the middle to the end, and Marty Schlesinger,
that's the other one.
Planted in. I mean, we didn't discriminate. Whatever.
Yeah.
There was always, people would show up from back east and just fly in and like, hey, is that okay? And they just show up at the ramp, and we're like, cool. We're gonna ride all day long, and then we're gonna go get pizza and be with us.
Yeah, cool, man. Living the life. Yeah. And that was
weird. It's weird now, and social media, and people will post these things like, hey, back in the day, do you remember this time, this day? And I showed up, and we went out to eat, and then you let me stay at your house, and I'm like, that's a lot of detail. I don't remember any of it. Or like, you gave me, we would just, be a part of the crew and then see ya and have some stuff, whatever.
Yeah, man. And that was that was Doug's garden, right?
It was, it was a weird piece of property with a big dirt space in the back, and his mom, bless her heart, man, she just let us do anything. It was her husband at the time, but ex now, just let her have it. It was Doug's stepdad's property, and people got hurt, and no one ever sued. It was just like all of the worries were nothing. Yeah. And his mom was such a sweetheart. She would do anything for anybody. I remember I was at the ramp by myself, and I knocked myself clean out, like didn't wake up. And I remember waking up in the back of my van with her driving me home 5 miles down the road, waking up. Like, she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. Wow. And is that where you learned to like really blast airs, or were you already going up high like already?
I did. So at my house, we had like jump ramps in the front yard, and we tried to build some quarter pipes, but I live in a normal neighborhood where you got to go down the street, turn a corner, go up the driveway, hit the ramp.
Okay.
Most American homes, like that's how you really had to try and hit air. And that quarter pipe, I don't know who made it, but somebody, and it was beautiful. It was like the transitions cut out of plywood. This was early 80s, mid 80s. And this early 80s, this ramp, somebody made it, but they couldn't keep it. And it went from one house to the next, this giant 8x8 quarter pipe with a platform and everything. And there was a crew of kids on skateboards rolling this quarter pipe through Camirilo. And it ended up down the street from my house. And then I begged my mom, hey man, city's going to take this thing and torch it, because it's in the street. In a normal street. So it ended up in my house for a good 10 years. And we took that thing and learned how to ride and did a bunch of shows. And
so that was the Camirilo one?
No, this was just a random quarter pipe in my front yard. But that was kind of right around the same time, maybe before Doug was starting to hatch his plan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 5 miles down the road, and I didn't have a license. So, I mean, I saw him whenever I saw him until he built the big long one. Because my quarter pipe went away.
So that was his as well, the extra run up one.
Yeah, that was his.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you, like you was kind of saying earlier, like you were thinking about things slightly, like how you'd make things better, right? This is early. You were saying this,
Right.
So like when you're doing those like one-footed flatties, which were like way like ahead of their time, and the lookbacks, like how did that sort of like evolve into that sort of such a tweaked version of those tricks? Because I noticed, like, I don't know if anyone said this to you before, but like when I look at pictures from the 80s now, this sounds weird, but like, so you can tell that's from the 80s. If you break the silhouette down of all the riders, and you can tell that's from the 80s, that's from the 80s. Loads of the tricks that you were doing then, if you showed someone now, they wouldn't know what era it was from if you just showed them the silhouette. Because the lookbacks are like modern lookbacks, and the one-footed flatties are like, or how people wish they could do them today, most of them, but like they're so pretty and they're so perfect, like everything's anatomically in the right place. Like how did that come up so early? Like it's and the one hand, one-footed like inverts as well, the downside ones. Like, yeah, it's unreal. How did that come about? Is that just natural? Were you like thinking, how can I push this further?
Yeah. I mean,
because I tell you, that's a lie. Tony Murray had a really good one-footed flatty as well. Yeah. So you too were like that. You had that. So
there was a whole year, maybe 2 years before RL called me or before I went pro, where I was competing expert, and me and Tony Murray it was either he won or I won.
Okay.
He won for like a whole year, and I was like second place. And then the next year I won every contest, and he was like second place. But progression is just a logical response to a bunch of, people trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
Every time you go to the ramp and there's people there, it's a pissing contest. You're either preparing for the pissing contest or like you suck, I'm better, and respect. I don't know. It's the progression of things. But when you figure out an easier way to do something, and in some ways riding goofy is harder, in some ways it's easier, so just take advantage of that. And I didn't want to be a one-trick pony, and it kind of was in a way, because you can't control what gets in the magazines, but you control what you're doing. But they latch onto something, and you're not going to say no when John Carr's like, oh yeah, I love it, do it again. So you're doing like 100 all in a row, and one of these is getting in, so just kill it. Go as far as you can. So,
but saying that, what would you say your one trick was though? Because you had loads of tricks, like, and you had like a bunch of like real good ones. What are you saying, that the look back was the one trick, or was it the 1 foot?
I mean, I got a lot of coverage on 1-footers and look backs.
Yeah, but they kind of were the best ones of the era. So like Tony Murray, he had that was competitive, you and him, yeah. But
that was my trophy. Like, I didn't win a lot of contests. My thing was I was competing against myself, and I wanted to do what the things that I like to do, and like lookbacks are fun. Like, there's a lot of tricks that I would do that are so fun, and you feel good about it, and there's a lot of them that like, this sucks, this is sketchy, I'm gonna bail, this is gonna hurt, and so you do them, but they kind of faded out, and you got your bangers that you like, and I don't know, the progression just happens when you're just bored of doing the same thing, like do it better, do it more, do it, tweak it so it's something different.
Yeah. Because that was also another one that comes up occasionally, is probably one that you don't think about even, but a few of my friends, like recent, were like 2 years or something, was like, oh, look at this can, and it was the upwards can where your foot is going like backwards.
Yeah.
And that was another one. We're like, wow, I've never seen that before. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's Todd Anderson. Yeah.
Those were.
There was always a slight adjustment on like the normal positioning, which is very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, and there was a couple other ones that just you kind of you did them, and they just seemed dopey, like the top-sided. I never felt like I could tweak them or do anything with them that made them cool because they just seemed kind of dopey, and you just did them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks cool in that picture where it's going back. And the other one was like, I don't know how much you followed BMX in the late 90s, but like the unlook back.
Yeah.
So like you were doing that in the 80s, and it took like 10 years at least for people to start doing that again.
Yeah, man. Whoever the guy with the dreads does them.
Joe Rich.
No. The new guy.
Is he English?
Yeah, I think
Tom Justice. Tom Justice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that guy rips.
Yeah.
I don't follow a lot, but when I see it, when it comes up on my feed, dude, I so appreciate just a stylish, steezy. He's it. Him and the dark-haired guy with all the tattoos on his face and everywhere, real skinny. There's so many guys that are just so stylish.
Joe Rich is like,
Joe Rich got the cover on that one, and it was
he kind of brought it back. Yeah.
I don't know how that we were just trying to do something new. If Bob or Wendy or John Carr are in front of you and you've already done a bunch of crap and got it covered, you're like, got to come up with something fast. So, I think that's where the unlook back came up. Like, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
And it was not hard. It wasn't hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you're already turning goofy. Yeah. So and
that's one of those ones too. You don't, it's not a show trick. It's not a contest trick. It's a magazine picture trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who did you shoot with most out of those guys?
Everybody.
Because they would come to Camirilo, like, well, by the looks of it, they were there every weekend at one point.
Yeah, I went a lot of places too. I was invited everywhere. I always thought somewhere in there, because people bitch and moan like back in the day, like, oh, you're only getting coverage because you're Redline or you're this and I got more coverage when I got dumped and was nobody. I had nothing. I was promoting no one, and I got the cover right off the bat. I'm like, or you only get shot with that. I got everybody loves shooting with. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I went
good. The riding
went everywhere.
The riding looked timeless.
Anytime they called me, I'd go 2 hours out of my way. I'd go all the way to San Diego for a photo shoot, and I would always try my damnedest, man. I never, ever would disrespect an opportunity for a photo shoot. But,
okay. I
don't remember doing more or less with any one photographer.
All right.
And they were all awesome. Guyberson and Wendy, Osborne, John Carr. Tony Donaldson is total badass now. Like, he was like this, sidekick for John Carr, and now he's legit. This guy Tony Donaldson is awesome.
I don't know that name. Who did he shoot for?
He shot for BMX Plus and everybody. Super BMX. There was a lot of the startup magazines that tried to get something, and yeah. But they were all the photo shoots are different. Some are just like shoot, okay, leave, go, and some we hung out and went to lunch or dinner. Yeah. I have a picture. I think it's a Polaroid of me and Dino and I think Josh White and Spike, and we're at our local pizza joint. And we're just hanging out. It's a really like jacked up picture, but it's us and it's him and I think Lou. And I found it like decades later. I'm like, whoa, no way, that's Spike. And like Spike's, he's, the king of the world now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And my son is working at the pizza joint. Like he got a job there. Like it's still, that pizza joint is, well, it's not there now, but yeah, it was, that's a trip. It's a trip. Decades later.
And what was the cover? Wait, the cover of the bank sort of power mower, is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
When you lost all your sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
you had the cast on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was I broke my wrist on the general tour, and it just was a festering suck experience of just it never healing. Never did, and it sucks. My wrist is jacked. Whatever.
Okay. Still, yeah.
I mean, it's. I've been to specialists, and they're like, "Sucks for you." There's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But because of the wrist and like lagging in I guess the continuity of my riding or whatever, RL let me go, and I was like, whatever. I mean, things were different. Things changed, and So I had a vested interest in the next contest or something. I don't know for whatever reason, I went to that contest with no intention of riding and farted around outside the entrance of the contest, and I got the cover of the magazine. So whatever.
What I was going to ask you, like, why did you only have one clip in 101 freestyle tricks? Well, I couldn't figure that out. Like, Camirilo was the main feature, and you was in there once.
Yeah.
I watched it the other day to make sure. Like, yeah.
BMX Plus was hit or miss towards the late 80s. They had a lot of guys up and coming, and I moved to LA to be closer to everybody, and I just didn't hit it.
Okay.
I mean, this is way before the internet, so I mean, word of mouth. You had to be invited to stuff. You had to know.
Oh, so you didn't know?
I didn't know it was happening.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I had moved towards like 10 miles away from Wizard Publications.
All right.
In the ghetto, kind of by Bicycle Source bike shop. So,
all right.
And I was floating around that area for a while. I had an apartment there, and then I was working at the bike shop and couch surfing. I lived with Seppi Mays for a while, and worked at the the Redline, whatever it was, the warehouse that Redline has. I was sleeping in everybody's couch.
Oh, okay. You was just surfing about, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that? How was that received? That video when it dropped, the 101 freestyle tricks by you guys. Like, did you think it was cool, or like was like, well, I don't know about this?
I mean, BMX Plus, it's a bunch of old farts trying to figure out how to make money.
Okay. So
I mean, that's a lot of the 80s. A lot of the 80s was not rider influenced at all. So I mean, everybody loves 80s, but it had a lot of shortcomings in the whole system.
Yeah.
You go to the bicycle dealer show, and you could just tell there was a bunch of people just trying to juice it and make money.
They didn't know where to go, did they? Didn't know what direction to go in.
And there was no one ever thought rider influenced anything. So
which is crazy, because like at the start it did. Like, and then when you get into it further, it sort of gets sucked out of it again, and people take over.
Oh, that's almost true. Like Eddie did the GT Performer, like that was him, but it was all GT. Like he didn't. It was rider influenced, but it was taken and ran. RL's getting paid, but he designed all that and then let it go. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because we had that over here probably a year after he was out in the US, and we was like, we were quite young, and we were like, whoa, this is like it's cool to watch BMX, but I don't know about this music and like the way this is presented. And we was like we were 13 or something, you know, and we were still wise to it. Yeah. Interesting.
In a lot of ways, I think you guys got it way better.
Yeah. Some of it, yeah.
I mean, better in the fact that like you were I think you guys had street figured out way before us. I think you guys did, you know, the less corporate. You got gypped on the coverage.
Yeah, but it collapsed here before it collapsed there, though. That's one of the reasons I think it seemed to.
But I think all Europe was a part of the rebirth and the bringing it back and the rider own all that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I
had Nick, Phillip, and Craig Campbell and Craig Grosso, Pete Augustin, all those dudes were we kind of had the POW house at my apartment for a good summer. Everybody was there every day, all the time. We all were riding. And Craig, I mean, he was awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
We would ride that whole area, the Fatburger Banks and Huntington or the Hermosa Torrens.
Okay, so you knew those guys quite well then, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, good enough. Craig was awesome. Nick was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
known Craig Grosso forever, and Craig. It was just natural. I let Pete Augustin stay in my house for a long time, just to be grounded. Yeah. He's so awesome.
Cool.
He's legit.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good. I don't know how long it was. It wasn't long enough, but yeah, it was. Nobody had any money, and we just rode all day long.
Excellent.
And there was no ramps. There was no ramps anywhere, and we rode all the time.
Oh, excellent. Well, so let me just go back a little bit because I wanted to know about General. What, like, was that? So you went to General with RL, I assume.
Yeah.
So RL was what he was doing for Redline for General. But where did General come from? Like, it's this huge company out of nowhere. We could never get it in the UK. We never saw it, yeah. But it seemed big. It seemed like a big deal, and they had like good team, and they were doing that tour, and they made the video, and it was all happening, and the ads looked good, and it all looked good. But like, I don't know where it came from. Fred Blood, he was on it as well, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I was on Redline, and I remember there was one or two opportunities. I don't remember when General came up, but I remember RL, hitting the road with Redline, and I didn't know if I was a package deal or not. Okay. And so I stayed, and they never propositioned me to like, okay, here's what we're going to do. They didn't have a plan. I never really talked. I was young and dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, no big vision of aspirations of doing anything. So when RL left, he goes, I want you to come. I want you to come and let's do the whole thing. And for whatever reason, I waited a month or two.
All right.
And just to flex my muscle, I guess. I don't know. And then like, okay, this is going to be dumb if I stay because there's nothing happening. But I don't remember General sitting me down and giving me a big vision or a big anything. But
okay,
I went along and it was just like everything was the same, different bike.
Yeah, different colors, and that was it, right?
The bikes are okay.
Yeah.
The first bike they gave me was like the bottom of the barrel, mild steel, junker, gray, ugly, and I just took all the parts off my Redline, put it on that thing, and I think I did one of the Enchanted Ramp contests on that. And yeah, you look at that bike and you're like, it's a total piece of crap. And then the general bikes were, whatever. They were decent. I don't think I ever broke one. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. They were probably a little heavy because they were top tube, double top tube. But yeah, I don't know where they came from. They were a tire company. It's General Tire Company. They still make tires.
Oh yeah, okay. I think they make car tires.
Yeah. So that was my understanding. I could be wrong, but there was one guy, Harry Myers, I think, who somehow, I don't know, corporate people thought, let's pour money into and make bikes. So
did you guys get paid for that, or? I don't need to know figures. I just wondered if, like, you went on that tour and stuff, and like, this is a big company, and from the outside, it looks like they've got a lot of money, but I have no idea.
I didn't think I was a package deal with RL because I think I got checks of money, and I think even with Redline and General, I think they said General and Redline on them, the checks, but I think it was peanuts. I don't think I made more than $500 a month.
Okay.
Ever for anyone. I never got paid anything for SE ever.
All right.
They gave me a photo contingency, and I think I got a random couple $100 for covers and things. But General, I think I made a couple $100. I don't think I made over $1,000 ever with any company ever, except for Vans. And I was pretty much a grown up by the time I negotiated with Vans.
Okay.
But I think Carrie went online and said I was a package deal with RL, so I got whatever scraps from RL. I don't know, whatever. I'm not bitter about it, but I didn't get paid much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you certainly was. I was watching some of them AFA contests of you, actually, like when we knew we were going to talk. Well, I've seen them before, and I watched some horrendous slams.
I know a couple of them I don't even remember.
What? This is when you was on Redline.
I think John Pova showed me a video at the Old School Woodward like 2 years ago or something, and he's showing me this picture. Like, what the hell happened there? Because I just went up and didn't even turn. That's
the one I watched. It was. But I watched one that was indoors on a big.
Yeah.
It was like a Diacomp quarter pipe.
That quarter pipe was so awesome, man. Bob got it right. Whoever made that ramp, it was so awesome. Because there was janky ramps in the past.
So I watched that probably 6 or 8 times the other day trying to figure it out, and I think I was disappointed you couldn't tell me. I think that your top foot comes off because you kind of just go up and then go back and then.
I don't know why that happened. One other memorable time. I was riding. It was the middle of tour, and there was a contest, and no one was going to be there, and it was at Madison Square Gardens in New York, and huge crowd. It was summer, and the place is packed, Madison Square Gardens, and there's not a lot of pros there. So we're signing autographs all day long, line forever, signing autographs, and then they're like, okay, go ride. And then we rode, and these ramps sucked so bad. They were like this nothing kink on the top. And so we're like, whatever. I mean, there's so many people here. We got to do the best we can. I'm in the middle of the tour. And did the same thing, man. Went straight up, didn't turn or anything. And in the middle of my run, I knocked myself right out doing some kind of can or something, and just went down like a sack of potatoes and knocked myself right out. And it's the only time where when you knock yourself out in front of 40,000 people, you got to get your act together quick and get your marbles going. And it was the classic. I'm on my back and everybody's looking at me. I'm looking at all these people going, "Hey man, are you okay?" And I'm like, okay, I know something bad happened, and I'm good. Got up, walked out of there like nothing. But yeah, I didn't know where the hell I was, or I get up and I go, oh, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Same thing though. I don't know why it's one of those ones, man. It sucked. That crash looks gnarly, and I just get up and walk away.
Is that on YouTube? That one? Is that the one where the quarter pipes have no branding on them? Is that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody. Yeah.
Oh, maybe not that one then. Okay.
It's a 1-footer, and I just go straight up and straight down. The Madison Square Gardens one, I don't think that's online anywhere, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, there was some horrendous slams, and then there was actually a run in, is it Wichita?
Yeah, that
was good. That was like that all went to plan.
Plowed right into the ground, flat. Yeah. So that contest, I don't know if that's the video, because I've did it a couple of times where I just went balls out way too fast, way too high, and just did the Jake Brown plowed right into the ground, way over popped out.
Okay.
But I did a contest, the one where Wilkerson.
Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah.
Did the nothing.
Where you had
his run was over, and it's my turn to go, and I'm waiting for him, to be done, and I'm getting ready to do my run, and I'm pumped, man. I'm ready to go, and he did that nothing, and it was scary.
Yeah,
and
I bet
there was blood everywhere, and that sucks.
Yeah, man.
And
that was you after him.
That was me right after, and I went the other way. Like I went, okay, I'm not going to let this. Like I feel great. I feel like I'm riding great. I'm not going to let this deter me from killing it right now.
Yeah.
So I went way too fast. First air, plowed right into the ground, exploded, like bearings were flying. My headset was, the whole front of my bike just shattered everywhere. And I was fine. But yeah, it was spectacular bail.
But did you take 2 runs that day? Because I saw one with a crash, and then another one was good.
Yeah, it's because it's so early. They're like, figure out a bike, because my bike was like exploded, and I got on Danny Hubbard's bike and did my run. I don't know. I think I won it or got second or something. I did good, but on somebody else's bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did the 540s and stuff. You did 1-footed 540, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of prided myself over the years that I could ride pretty much anybody's bike, because my bike always broke. I always got a flat. I always had something wrong with my bike, to the point of like, dude, come on. We were doing shows in France at a water park, big shows with Stevie and Vans and everybody, and my bike was constantly breaking down. And I remember my front nut on my axle was stripped out because I couldn't. It fell apart.
Yeah.
So I went around the corner and to the maintenance guy at this water park in Zigo Park or something in France. And this guy had this old arc welder, and I just welded my axle to the fork. And I was like, I'm good. Can't get it flat, but I'm good.
Oh, man. Oh. So did that ever have much of an effect on you taking them? Because they were some brutal slams. Like, that didn't seem to slow you down, though. You're still headstrong into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know that like every concussion adds to the next concussion. And I had a psychologist or somebody in passing or in a conversation I said something about, well, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 concussions or something. I don't know. And he goes, wait a minute. What degree of severity and how many? And then, like, you need to count them out, and your ability to cope with life and make it through and think complex thoughts and do all these things. Like, it matters. I'm like, good to know now.
When was the last time you had one?
Not that long ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's always the head, man. Every time I'm injured, it's always like smashing my head. I think I was sledding down a mountain or something, and
okay.
I went snowboarding, not too long ago, and slammed my head on the concrete or on the ice. Whatever. You gotta live. They're not catastrophic.
Yeah, of course you gotta live. Yeah, man. Of course, 100%.
I was telling a coworker who, is a grown up, and he didn't do anything to, break himself growing up. And I go, I don't know. We're thinking through a problem, a complex thought, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm lost, man. My brain just goes to a point and goes, stops. I go, I got 25 or so concussions, and I'd known this guy for a good 10 years. He's like, what? No. What? No. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, everybody has something they did.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, you went hard there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, on the tricks and like the pioneering tricks as well. When I watched Stomp in the States, and I watched the Bad Boy Boogie and the rapping, like that was pretty entertaining. But I noticed half bar spin air, which was like, to my knowledge, I don't know if anyone had done that at that point.
I don't think so.
So that was you come up with that yourself?
I think so.
But it's completely gone under the radar, that, because like years later, I mean, I know Jeremy Alder did it like the year after, and he did the full bar spin as well. Right. But like when Bob Cole, remember Bob Cole, right?
Yeah.
He kind of popularized it like early 90s or so. But
yeah, man, I wonder what's up with all these goofy writers making the bar spin happen.
But I think it's like you say, they've got to come up with some, because Jeremy Alder was the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I looked at that the other day. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was so early. And then I noticed another trick, which was like the up the quarter to nose pick and in fakie. And I was like, well, that's definitely was never done before, which I was like, really, for that to be done like a lip trick in and out in 1987, really, like there was only people going in from lip tricks at that point. It was very rare that someone was going
spending
in and out.
a lot of time on top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I kind of,
which I really like that. Like it's like total skateboard style, like, and that you come up with that yourself, I guess, right?
Yeah. Or I just didn't want to hop around. I didn't want to take the time to set up and drag it out. I didn't want to hop around because Wilkerson was doing that really good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to shorten it up and make it, just get it over with. I didn't want to drag out the agony of like, I'm probably going to get hurt right now. I might as well just do it quicker.
It looked good, man.
Hugo was doing like right up to the edge of the hip at Upland, and he would
nose pick
and then hop in.
Yeah.
Until he cracked his noggin.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seemed like something just cooler is a better option for me.
Yeah, no, it looked
as long as your brakes were working good. I liked it. It wasn't. I had a handful of stuff that I just like. This is good. This is good. I don't really like it that much. It's a good trick, but I don't feel like this is going to be like my bag every show.
Okay.
The bar spin I never felt super comfy doing it. I never felt like I wanted to, go higher, and the next thing would be the full bar spin, and I never did it.
Okay.
And I should have just went that direction.
But you was doing full bar spin like Abubakas and stuff, weren't you? Like early.
Oh, that was fun. Those are fun. Yeah. That was so fun. The acid drop bar spin. Yeah. I would do that when. I never really put any of my runs together as tight as I probably should have, and like I just did whatever the hell I felt like, and probably to my disadvantage. I remember at the Enchanted Ramp, I was again standing on. I'm up on the deck, and Mike's doing his run before me, and he flings a 900 for the first time, almost lands it, and then like, yay, okay, go ahead, Todd, do something. I'm like, I got nothing. I just did a bunch of bar spin and Abubakas because like, whatever. This doesn't matter anymore.
How many of those Enchanted Ramp 2 hips were there? Just 2?
Yeah, there was probably a lot less than we thought.
Yeah, I think there was only 2, but it seemed like, they were
I did a lot. Man, that's a long drive for me, and I did a lot of stuff there. Yeah. That was a fun ramp.
How far was that from where you was?
It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
They look fun sessions, though, at that place. Legendary place, like, yeah.
Yeah, it is such an awesome ramp, a beautiful place. And I would drive all the way out there and just drive back. Yeah.
Same day, yeah.
Never really, like, no, there was no compensation for any of that ever. Like, oh, I know it's far and we'll slip you a 20. Never. Or, hey, we'll buy you lunch afterwards. Yeah, if you're lucky and it's McDonald's.
How many photo shoots did you do there?
A lot.
Countless, like loads, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do. That was my trophy. I don't care. I cared if I won, but really I'm down for photos. If I saw there was a contest right when RL went to general and I was waiting and I was just like flexing my muscle, waiting a little bit. There was a contest and it was a part of the series, the AFA series, and RL wasn't going to go for whatever reason. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go. And I think that was the deciding factor because Redline didn't pay me to go.
Okay.
So I paid myself. Like I booked my own flight and I went there for Redline, and they didn't pay a dime for. And I think Bob was like, you don't have to pay to enter. He was cool with it. But that contest, I did a look back at the end of my run, and I was so damn tired. My feet fell off the pedals, and Guy Giberson shot that and put it in the magazine. My feet are off the pedals, and it looks intentional, and I am fully twisted in a look back. And that was my pride and joy, man. That is a photo that was worth it. Wow. And people are like, do the no footer look back. I'm like, not today.
Did you roll out of that, or did you eat shit?
I did. The way it happened, because my cranks just started spinning, and I remember I just put my ass on the seat and pointed the front end down. Okay. And I rode out on my ass on the seat because they were higher back then.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just rode out with my feet off the pedals just a little bit, and nobody knew the wiser, and made it in the magazines.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good work. What else we got?
Never to be done again, ever. Matt probably did it. I think Joe did no footer turn downs.
Turn down, yeah. That I always looked at that picture and thought that was a mistake though as well.
I don't know. Joe was 100% badass. He's a lot like me.
No doubt.
He was very quiet, and he let his writing speak for him. And I always felt like if I'm good enough, chicks are gonna like me. Chicks will dig me, and I won't have to say anything because I didn't want to speak. I was super shy. I don't want to say anything. I just want people to talk to me so I can talk to them, but I don't want to start any conversations. I just want to ride really, really good, so somebody's going to talk to me.
No, I've seen that before though. People, I've done it myself actually. Went to do a turn down, my feet come off. Yeah, so
that sucks.
It happens, but like you say, I mean, I don't hardly do a turn down now, but like back then, you could land sitting on your seat and roll out. So,
right,
as long as the bike came round. So at this point in time, like, did you guys? Was BMX declining? Like, say, like the two hip, King of Verts, that sort of era. Was BMX starting to decline? Like you've left so General stopped, right?
Yeah.
So how did that end?
RL came to my apartment when I was out in Torrance area. He came to my apartment out of the blue. Didn't even no prep or nothing. I didn't hear about things are starting to change. And he was like, have a nice life. You're off the team. He's super nice about it.
Yeah.
But he started bullying.
Okay, yeah, that's right, yeah.
I mean, we knew things were changing, and I was floating around on people's couches. I ended up being, going to Eddie's house a lot and becoming, best friends with Ed.
Oh, cool.
And I ended up sleeping on his couch. His family, his mom and his family is legit. There are legit, genuine, amazing people. And I slept on his couch for 2.5 years.
Amazing. That's not bad.
So just from living at Eddie's house, I'd had a large trailer ramp combination that I welded up years before that never finished, never really kind of blew up. So when I got on Eddie's, when I started living with Ed, we put that ramp together and started doing shows. And then we'd always been connected with Vans and doing shows for Vans, but we wanted to get paid. Even though the whole industry is taking a dump, we wanted to do school shows, fairs, and industry be damned. We'll do our gig, and the industry can find itself. Yeah. So we didn't do any. I didn't do any contests. Didn't follow the scene. I wasn't attached to all the stuff Hoffman was doing. That was awesome. We just we just wanted to find our own little niche, do our shows, make a living. And we were doing it, but we wanted Vans to support us 100%. And it took like a good year or two of begging Vans, dude, give us a program, put it together. We basically hand fed them this amazing proposal where we were going to be indentured slaves and do like 1,000 shows in a certain amount of time and just give us a monthly payment. And they finally picked us up and did that. And Eddie had the truck. I had the trailer. He bought the PA. Danny Hubbard was on the mic. And it was the perfect combination. And I think for Vans, it was a win-win. They sent us two times across America. And we did Europe. We did one in Europe with Vans.
Whereabouts in Europe did you go?
We did Germany, France, and all around there. We did Stefan Geisler.
Stefan Prandtl. Oh, yeah. The vert rider, yeah.
And this sucks. I can't remember their names. All the guys are awesome now. It was 3 or 4 guys, and they were killer, and they teamed up with us, and they did the shows with us. They were awesome.
Okay.
Legit. Yeah, the one guy does the Worlds.
Bart. Is it Bart de Jong?
No.
That's the Worlds. Akeem.
Nope.
Okay, I'm not sure then.
I mean, when I see him, it's just like it was yesterday, and then I bob my head. I don't know. I know that all these guys are amazing, and they did something, and I just go, oh, wow. Yeah.
Not Stefan Prantl, no?
Yeah. For whatever reason, I saw him at the Worlds maybe in Cologne in 1990. Yeah. That's when we were there. Okay. And I guess the story goes, I had a very dry sense of humor, and so when kids would come up to me, they'd be like, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, like nobody told us how to act to, you know, potentially, you know, young and impressionable minds. So I guess Steven came up to me and said, hey, can I have your autograph? And I went, no. And then he just ran away or something. I don't know what I did, but it very much disrespected him. And he was crushed and he didn't get my humor. So decades later, he texts or he does something on social media and says like, you did this to me. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. That's not me. I'm not a jerk. I'm so sorry. And then I saw him at the old school reunion from across the thing. And he's looking at me like, I got something to say to you. I'm like, say it, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm not a jerk. I'm dope. I'm a dope socially. So yeah, he's cool with me now.
Yeah, good. And like, so this is early 90s, I take it, right?
Yeah, 1990. We did that European tour with Vans and Stevie and his daughter Martin, me, Danny, and we drove all over the place. Did a bunch of shows everywhere. We did a show at the steps of the Cologne Cathedral.
Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Apparently, Stevie Van Doren took a bunch of pictures of that whole tour, and we never got to see him. And the joke was always, you know, I'll bring the family, I'll bring the kids, and we didn't have any kids. Like, it's never going to happen. I'm going to be a full-on grown-up when this happens, and we still haven't seen the pictures, and I'm a full grown-up with kids.
Not bad.
But yeah, we did that whole tour, and then we ended up at the Worlds in Cologne.
Cologne, yeah.
In 1990.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was like, we knew that freestyle was worldwide, but I'm still kind of bubbled up, and you think that everything good in the world is just in Southern California. Yeah. And it's just, you know, because that's what your experience is. And when we went to that Worlds, it was so humbling that there's so many people that shred, and we're far, 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 far from home.
Yeah.
There was a guy who reminded me of like Seppi Mays. And he lived on the other side of the Berlin Wall, like 86, the wall came down, and that was 90. So that was only a couple years of influence, 86, 87.
I think it came down later than that. Yeah. Not
but
much,
I mean, it was the timeline there. This kid, this is the very first time this rider had ever been like, my people, this is my people now.
Yeah. Into the Western world.
He rode Flatland like the most outrageous stuff, because all he had was pictures. Like, video was
non-existent. Yeah,
internet was non-existent. Like, the Stomp on the States was film. Like, they shot that with film. So this kid was so amazing, and it opened up my mind. Like, dude, this is big. And he had, I don't know if it's the same kid, but same day, a kid comes up to me and has this giant tattoo on the back of his shoulder, and it's a cartoon photo or a drawing that from BMX Plus or somebody, when they have those contests at the end of the magazine, where like, submit your drawings of BMX drawings, and like, you know, I want to be Radical Rick guy, and and it was a drawing of a photo of me doing like a 1-footer look back or something. That was very much, that's me. Like, the guy's goofy. I know the picture, and you took that picture, and somebody drew it, and it's super awesome drawing. And this guy somewhere in Yugoslavia has it tattooed on his shoulder, and he goes, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Holy hell! Somebody's got a tattoo of me. This is big."
It's reaching, tentacles are reaching far at one point. Well, still, what
but it was so humbling doing that contest and feeling great. Like I was riding good and everything, but knowing going into that contest, like everybody looked at us like, "Oh, you the pros from California," and I was like, "Dude, I'll be lucky to make top 5 here. Like I ain't in this thing to win. I'm just gonna do I'm gonna ride for fun." Yeah. I mean, I was trying my damnedest, but I didn't win that thing because these guys are ripped. I think Bestwick was there, or Simon Tabron was there.
Yeah.
And this is way back. Regis, what's his nut? He was there.
Regis Gaudreau, yeah, the French guy, Regis. Yeah,
dude, he's awesome. I've done so many shows with that kid. He just shows up everywhere. Everywhere I do it something, he's just hey. He's
still riding. I see pictures of him on the internet quite regularly.
He's a nut. Yeah. He rips.
Yeah. And but a little bit before that, it was like the Meet the Streets. How many of those did you go to?
I think I went to every one except for New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to all of them.
Oh, wow.
I think
they look really fun. Like they look like a turning point. Like
it was a turning point to. It doesn't really matter who wins or loses, and anybody could do anything. You have no excuse whether this ramp or that ramp or the area. Nothing. Yeah. Anyone could win this thing.
Yeah,
that's the one where Craig does the 540 wall ride.
Yeah, amazing.
That was when we were all at Torrance hanging out, and we were a crew. Man, he killed it.
Yeah.
He's like the Europe's version of a Mike Dominguez. Like he could write anything. Him and Carlo. I don't think I ever met Carlo Griggs or rode with him. He never had an experience to be. I don't know. I don't remember. But that kid rips.
Yeah, Carlo ride different to Craig. Craig's like, they're two very different, but super like. They're unreal, but Carlo's supposed to be coming on here, so maybe you'll see his story this year, hopefully. Yeah, but
like I feel like he got gypped. He would have if he was from SoCal, he would have blew up.
He did a lot of time in the US in the late 80s, and then in the early 2000s he ended up riding contests. There's some footage of him, and he's still incredible. Yeah. But hopefully I'll get him on at some point. But Meet the Streets, they look super fun, man. I like all them old photos now. Like I look in Bill. You've seen Bill Batchelor's book, right? There's some real good ones in there. Yeah.
And you would think looking at these contests from the magazines that it was that Ron was some amazing smart kingpin businessman. And he's awesome. Ron is awesome, but it was ghetto the whole way through, man. It was, I don't think he would do them anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's known as more will than skill, right?
Yeah. That's good. That's the
way to do it. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Just do it with passion. Yeah. So, did you end up back on SE at one point?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt like I didn't float around a bunch, and SE, even from back in the day, it's like your family.
Yeah.
Mike Devitt's kind of the kingpin, or was the kingpin of that place at its birth and up until Todd Lyons, and Todd Lyons is awesome.
Yeah.
But I always felt like he's like a dad, and you can always come back and join the club. But I had late. I wasn't even doing any shows, and I stopped off when they moved to San Diego, and they've always struggled. SE always struggled. And I dropped off. I wanted a Floval. I wanted a cruiser. I'm a grown up and I have my kids in the back seat, you know, and I show up and I'm like, I want a Floval and I want to get a baby trailer and I want to be cool and just, you know, how much for a cruiser frame? I don't want to pay for it. I did a bunch of crap for you for nothing. Yeah. So I want a Floval and I'm a full grown up. I'm married and I have 2 kids. I want a Floval. And I showed up. This is not me at all. Like, I feel like, you know, what's done is done. If I don't have anything to offer, I shouldn't ask. Yeah. And I went up there and I said, and I'll pay for it. And Perry Kramer was working there at the time, and he's like, "Oh, okay, great. Check, cash, bump, done." And then Mike came in and said, "No." And in their factory, he always had like a few photos, like, you know, covers and you know, big stuff. And he had 4 photos on the wall in the main part of the factory. And every single one of those 4 was me on a cover on a PK. And Mike goes, "Dude, who else is on this wall? He's the only one on the damn wall. Give him a bike." And because they were struggling. And Perry's like, "Okay, yeah, write that check out too." Perry's awesome. Yeah. But I was like, damn it, I don't want to pay for this bike. But that was like a moment of full respect for Mike to go like, "Yeah, nice. Nobody else is on this wall, bro. Give him a bike."
and did you end up on Supercross as well at one point?
Yeah, I was floating around a bunch of couches and people and Bill Ryan at Supercross. Before he had Supercross, he had this tech pad or tech plates and leathers, race leathers.
Okay.
And he had a bike shop that was, you know, he worked at, and so I stayed at his house. He was one of the couches I crashed at. We became friends, and so he had big dreams of having a bike company, and I rode whatever he'd give me, whatever prototype he had, I'd ride it.
Okay, I think that was on like one of the later videos at a street contest. You was on one of those Supercross bikes. I'd never seen one before. I remember thinking, "Whoa, what's that bike?" Because it had like the junction at the back was different, wasn't it? Like 2 triangles there.
Yeah, trying to be cool. Bill's awesome, and he blew up. up. Yeah. I haven't seen him much. There's an event coming up in April. I'll probably see him, but yeah, he hunkered down and did good.
Oh, good, man. Nice. Good stuff. And did you follow BMX like through? Did you ride all the way through, or did you like have a break?
The Eddie and Danny thing was a long time. We finished with Vans as far as like a monthly check, but we always he would call us and we would do a show, whatever. But we did shows forever. I mean,
oh really?
Yeah, man. Me and Eddie teamed up in 88, 89. And however infrequently rode that train, beat that dead dog down. And we went to probably, I mean, we did school shows forever. I did my kids. We did 2000.
All right.
Oh, that's so my kids were in 6th grade, 2005, 2000, well into the 2000s, and we're doing school shows, and we're still getting phone calls like, "Hey man, we really love your show," and we're like, "It's nothing new. It's still the same thing." And we would get a lot of calls. And they're like, the shows that the other shows that we're doing, the other teams that we're getting are very unprofessional and not good. And so there was a handful of times where I was like, okay, we'll do a show. We'll do your show. And they're like, well, how much? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever they're charging. And we're charging peanuts back in the day. And so it was a handful of times where I did this, and they're like, it was like so much more. I think we were charging like $300 or $500 for a school show. And the last couple times it was like $2,000.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, what? Okay, hold on. I got to get some new writers. I gotta make us something worth the money. Yeah. And they were happy. One of the last shows we did was at my kids' school, and in my hometown, and the parents are, in the crowd who were there, I grew up with, or knew of me, and were like, how old are you? And I'm like 100 years old, just like you. Yeah, we beat that. We did that show with nothing new. Eddie did a backflip. I tried to do a 540 as long as I could, and if we could get high, great. But nobody give a damn how good we were. But we were on the mic really good. We were very grown up about it, and we rode that train till mid 2000s.
Oh, nice.
I mean, or longer. Yeah, in the last 10 years, I've done shows.
Okay.
and I was like, God, really? Really?
We're still going. So what was that? I saw some footage of, is it someone's birthday? Eddie's birthday, maybe?
Yeah, he does his. So that's where he grew up. That's his mom's house in Bellflower. Okay. And so, every 4th of July, they do a big block party.
Okay. So huge. I saw you riding with him, and I'd not seen it. I'd seen one of the others, but this was like a new one that I watched yesterday. And it was like you was blasting the quarter, like overhead high. Someone's on the quarter, you're going over their head, and then doing huge 360s over the box. I was like,
"Oh, that was so that was a school show."
Oh, that was a school show. That looked great, man. I was loving that one. Yeah.
The last couple 4th of Julys that we did was so much of a party, and the quarter pipe. I couldn't ride any of the last probably 5 years. I can't ride any of those ramps that he had, or I was struggling. But we have a skit that's like a showy skit that we always do, and it's so dumb and over the top. We know it's dumb, and we know every time we do it, we're beating a dead dog here, and we just have it's so funny. We have a good time with it, but it's just dumb. And we just do it. We do it every time, and yeah. I was asked to do. This was since I've been a grown up. I was asked to do a show in Hawaii with Matt Hoffman and like somebody else, and they were trying to convince me to do this half pipe show with stuff, and I'm like, I'm really old, super old, and I haven't ridden a half pipe. I'm a quarter pipe guy. I went, started in quarter pipes and then did all this stuff and then back to quarter pipes. I'm like, no way. And they offered me so much money. And I was like, no, there's no way.
Oh, I'm sure it'd been all right if you just started going. And did you ever run a freewheel? Like, you've got a bike now, I take it, and you still got a coaster?
Yeah.
Oh, so you still ride now? Yeah, I saw some clips the other day.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can ride a freewheel, and over the years I've put them on and I ride them.
Because that was. Do you know Shad Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So he was saying like, how did you learn 540s with a coaster brake? and being goofy, like, because it's hard, right? Because you want to put your foot down like all the time when you're learning a 540. You kind of take your inside foot off a reasonable amount. So
yeah, having the weight is, I know the weight and its ability to roll fast. Yeah, because coaster brakes are very archaic and very old technology. They don't roll fast and they're heavy. So spinning, trying to keep your access on any kind of spins in the middle, the coaster brake kind of ends up being the middle of the access. I enjoy coaster. That's where I started. My Mongoose, my first bike had a coaster. That's everything that's fun. The whole thing about riding for me and fun is a bunch of coaster stuff. And it's just funny now that it's almost like a controversy, like, oh, and he still rides a coaster brake, like which makes me want to just ride it more and do more everything coastery. Yeah. Over the years, I've rode freewheel. Like anytime I borrow anybody's bike, it's a freewheel, and I'm fine. Yeah, I could probably do, everything on a half pipe without a coaster, and I'd be probably better. Yeah, I'd be better off riding a half pipe on a freewheel.
So what about when we used to do like them overcrank lookbacks, and it looks like your pedals move like quite a lot. Like how did you not engage that coaster landing?
Yeah, you just pedal out.
While you're in the air?
Yeah, like your pump wouldn't. I wouldn't have any kind of pump coming out of that on a half pipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it didn't. It never engaged as you landed. No.
No.
Oh wow.
I mean, there's videos of me having issues coming off a fakie air or locking it up randomly.
Yeah. But seeing as you always like look back was quite a thing you used to do a lot. So I just went and then it's a really nice photo actually of like you're on the Enchanted ramp. I put it in a zine like a couple of years ago, and your feet are like fully like horizontal, and your cranks look like they're completely vertical. And that just looks like it wouldn't work, but somehow,
It's it's natural for me.
Yeah, you're just used to it,
Yeah, and it's in a lot of ways, if I ride a freewheel, there's a point where I'm like, I want a coaster.
Yeah.
But it's over the top, man. Everybody's like, and he still rides a coaster. Like I was at the old school reunion and we were riding a mini ramp and rooftops there, Mike X Camirilo, and he's riding, and he sees everything I'm doing is over the top coaster, roll back, hit coaster. And he's like, dude, what the hell? Let me ride your bike. And he rolled. It only took him like 5 seconds and he was super pissed, because he almost went over the bars a bunch. And he was like, dude, that's the dumbest thing ever. Why would you do this?
Because he's the generation after the coaster had gone. So he's only
There was another photographer, Piva or Jeremy Piva. So one of those dudes at Woodward, a photographer guy. And he looked mid-school. He looked like he was old. He looked kind of mid-school. And he's watching me ride, and he goes, "So, because I'll take all my brakes off, like I won't run a front and just ride coaster. It's so obvious. It's obvious. Like a lot of guys will fake it with a freewheel, a lot of tail tappy whatnots, but it's pretty obvious. You can't. There's something up here." And he was like, "What the hell's going on with that brake thing?" And I couldn't explain it to him. He's looking right at it, and I couldn't explain, like, back in the day when you rode a beach cruiser or your first bike, when you're pedaling and then you went backwards, like he couldn't comprehend. He skipped that whole part of like his childhood or something. And I was being funny, and it was almost like disrespectful. Like, okay, then you're in. Like he was getting upset because he'd never seen it before. I'm like, oh, well, that's sad. It's coaster brake.
Yeah. Some people haven't seen it. It's a lot of years have passed since they were even a thing on a BMX, really. But
I'm working on trying, and this is probably the stupidest thing ever, but I'm trying to take each part of a coaster brake, the drive and the shims and the cog and everything, and a like for like with titanium and seal bearings and everything, and the shell and the whole thing. It's never been done in the history of the world. I don't know why, because I just want one. I don't care if it costs a lot of money. I just want it. I don't know if it's ever going to sell, and I don't care. I just want one. But I work with a machinist, and I'm a welder, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to make a small tooth sprocket drive, titanium, shell, titanium. It's going to cost $1 gazillion, and I don't care. I just want
lightweight. Yeah, probably be lighter than a normal hub. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the coasters are crazy heavy and stupid heavy, and they're slow. But yeah, it's not rocket science. No one's ever done it.
Oh yeah, I think Morris Mayer, he may still ride a coaster as well.
Yeah, and they look like hell, and they ride like slow as molasses, and they're heavy. Yeah,
but they have their uses.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Cool, man. So you still keep up with BMX now? I assume, but a
little bit, just for fun.
Yeah.
I went to the X Games. There was a couple miles down the road last year, and whatever comes up on my feed, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
How many times do you get out in a month to ride your bike?
Oh, never.
Never, no? You're rare. Okay.
A couple times a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I saw Rick Thorne at a park that's close enough. That's a nice park that is close enough to my work. Yeah. And I know that I've seen him there, or I've seen him posting every Wednesday. And I keep thinking I could just take my bike to work and go ride with Rick. Because I saw him there one time we rode, and just that's a draw to know somebody's there every Wednesday. Like Martin on HB Tuesdays, he's always there.
Yeah, that's right.
On every single Tuesday, no matter what. And I'll do that once a year, twice a year. I'll go to see him. Martin's like Martin and Eddie. I was never on GT, but we did a hell of a lot of shows, and we went through a lot of life together.
Good. Well, and you see, how often you see Eddie Fiola?
Not enough. He's probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours away.
Okay, he's away, yeah.
So anytime I'm going through there, I'll stop off. Yeah, I see him a couple times a year.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
nice. I want to get him on as well at some point. I'm very interested in the early days. Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah, fully. I know. Yeah, he's one of my favorites from when I was really young.
I mean, I lived with him for 2.5 years on his couch.
Yeah,
and every time I come over for July, or anytime I see his mom, I say like, I'm just visiting. I'm not moving in.
2 years on the couch and you're still friends. That says something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I forget, because we're friends, I forget this human being is a legend.
Yeah, fully. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, we were good friends, man. We would get mad and get in fights and hash it out. And then I'm like, damn it, this guy's a legend. Why am I arguing with him? I was telling my buddy, the one who got us on SE, who drove us to the parking lot, and I told him there was a show. Because of him, I was on SE, and so Scott had a friend, and we did this show in out by Palos Verdes, Torrance area, up in the hills, in the rich part of the hills, and we did this school show. Way early shows, and we did the show, jumped this car, and all these people were there, and I noticed a kid at this show who's full leathers, and on a quad angle, full leathers. And I look at him, and he just helmet with the mouth guard, everything. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this kid? It's showing up at a show with leathers, like. And I guess I laughed at him and kept writing. Yeah. So my other teammate, the guy from Santa Barbara, who's super personable, everybody's his best friend, goes up to the kid and is like, "Hey, you're awesome! Wow, best friends!" And that kid ends up being Danny Hubbard. And and Danny Hubbard's, we're best friends, and we went all over the world and did all these things. And now he's announcing Supercross. So my buddy who started this whole SE thing, loves Supercross, as a motocross guy, just came back from the Supercross when I told him, "Hey man, the guy who's on the Jumbotron who's announcing that is that kid who I laughed at." And we went and did that show because you brought us to the parking lot of Vans or SE. Yeah. He was just crying. He was laughing. It's like, no way. Because of you, we did that, and he's up there on the Jumbotron.
Oh, man. What a turn of events, man.
And then so Eddie always he's big star. So us three, me, Danny, Hubbard, and Eddie, Eddie's always got something to say about, did you know that this movie star used to ride bikes and had a poster of me on his wall? And we're like, whatever, dude, whatever. And so the story is Ed Helms from The Hangover and from The Office.
All right.
And movie star Ed Helms is a big, huge BMX fan and movie rad and loved GT and Eddie Fiola and had his posters. And for whatever reason, Eddie's, stuntman, movie star, hobnobber. And he said Ed Helms saw him from across a set and said, "No way, Eddie Fiola." And ran him and said, "I'm such a big fan." And we're like, whatever, dude, that's great. Whatever lies you got going on, that's fine. So Danny Hubbard, fast forward, he's at a red carpet event announcing for this because Danny Hubbard is the mic guy. He's like Mr. Mike. So he gets hired to do this red carpet event for this movie that Ed Helms is in. And so when Ed Helms comes down the red carpet, Danny goes, "Ed, great you're here, blah, blah, blah. I hear you're a big Eddie Fiola fan and you love the movie Rad." And to our surprise, he says, "I love the movie Rad. I love Eddie Fiola. I'm a big BMX fan." And we're like, what the hell?
No, I went with it though. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, and then he went and did the red carpet with Nicole Kidman for some big movie she did, and then was like, "Great, Nicole, big fan of BMX Bandits."
Nothing, yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
It's funny how everything everybody's somebody, and they all go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I heard she doesn't like that one anyway. Yeah, but yeah. All right, man. All right. Well, I'm good. If you're good, if there's anything else you want to say.
No, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh man, no, seriously, thanks very much. I've wanted to speak to you for a while, and then you just, I don't know how, but you just popped up on my Facebook the other day. I was like, oh, Todd Anderson. Thanks for listening. We've got a Patreon page, so if you could show us any support, we'd be most grateful. The link's below. A lot of work goes into these shows, so anything you could do would be much appreciated. Thank you.